Hey guys, it's Joshua Harrow here, and most of you know me from anchoring news, doing news reports, and other crazy little shows. But today we're here with a new show, an original show, something out of this world. And we want to make sure that you enjoy this. So, welcome to 7 Vibe 8. Now, this is a controversial show, a show where we talk about all the issues plaguing society or the things that are happening in this world. And one thing that has come to mind that we all have questions about is Onlyfans. Now, our guest today is going to talk to us about that, but I'm not going to ruin the surprise for you yet, so just stay tuned to see who it is. I have a wonderful panel of individuals here to talk, ask questions, share insight, and really talk about the way forward for the next 30 minutes. So, Monsieur, we in. So guys, we have a wonderful panel of individuals here. To the far right, we have the lovely Jazzy. She's here with us today, joining us for the discussions, you know. Give them a little sun, Jazzy. Give them a little sun.
Hi, Jazzy here.
That's short and sweet, okay. And right next to her, we have the wonderful and the legendary Mr. Spud Montu, aka the artist.
What's up, everybody? What's up? What's the vibe? We live, we late, and most importantly, we in 7 Vibe 8 today, getting some content for all done.
And our special guest, oh my goodness, I'm thankful she's here. We have the Empress. And I say this again, the Empress of Nudity. To my right, she's here. Give them a little something to say.
Hi guys. Afternoon. I'm just here.
She's like. So we're here to vibe. We're here to vibe, to talk, to have some fun. And we're really here to just engage in conversations because, guys, let's talk about this. Things are a little hard, right? Things are a little hard. And I bet you one of you have thought about opening an Onlyfans. Don't sit there and act like you is a saint. You never thought about it, especially when you have no job. I know one of you. Some of you have a friend. You know somebody. So we have time to judge. But before we start that, I want to pose a question to the audience, and you can put it down in the comments. I just want to ask you, if you had a sister, an aunt among somebody who had an OnlyFans, and they just decided, hey, you know what, well, let me do it, I'm making some money from it, let me pay your school, let me pay this, let me pay that for you, would you accept that money? Would you take that offer? Or would you say, nah, because, you know, of your principles? You know, just answer that in the comment section below, right? But I'm going to hand it now to Spud to lead the conversation. You ready, Spud?
Yes. Guys, everybody good?
Yeah.
You know, you're all drinking. I would like to take a sip before we all start collectively, guys. So little cheers. Hello. Before we start the conversation.
A little cheers, you understand? Yes. Yeah, little. We must start on a good note. So, let's just start by saying OnlyFans. It's so controversial. It's a thing where people feel like, you know, once you own it, you judge, you're this, you're that. You're not really, how do you say, a desirable person anymore because you're out there. I see Jazzy giving me a mix with, maybe you know some people on the OnlyFans page that operating on a different.
So because you're on the page, it means that you're not desirable?
Well, some people make it seem as though they're not desirable because they're just having themselves out there. I mean, that's the concept we have, especially in an overly religious society. True. So people perceive that, you know, you have to wait until marriage to really.
That was back then.
How many people in signature you know that's married?
That's a very good question. I know they're divorced.
I know that. I know when I ask majority people if their mother and father is married, majority people of signature say no. I don't believe that marriage is a big culture, not just of signature, of the Caribbean. So when they speak about marriage, majority of people are not even coming from a married home. They was not raised by a wife. Majority people was raised by a single mother, or minority was raised by a single father.
Okay, yes, which is true. But what does being married have anything to do with your OnlyFans page? Because I could be married and I could be interested in having an OnlyFans page. Maybe that's what's going to help me take care of my family. So being married, being divorced has nothing at all, Spud, in having an OnlyFans page.
But you see, that's kind of like a little trigger there, because what if I say, okay, you are married and you want to have an OnlyFans page and your husband feels very insecure about you having that now?
He should, because if you are a man and you're looking to hold a woman for long term, he should provide under the meanings of not having to exploit themselves. If you are married, I do think that if you have a male spouse, unless I guess maybe he's into that type of scene. But if you have a male spouse, it is highly insulting to yourself to say that you're married and that you have a provider man, but you can't, that who cannot fully provide for you. And you have to go on the internet and exploit your body. You might as well, to me, you might as well have a pimp.
Well, she's right. She's right in that aspect. But what if you met that person while you met her, she was already doing this, or she already
If she was
had
already doing it,
a fans page, so you can't just tell her that you don't want her to do it anymore. I mean, you come to a compromise when you're married or when you're about to get married. Okay, what she's saying, I totally agree with it. If you're married, you respect yourself. Okay, your husband is supposed to provide for you. But what if I was doing it before I even met my husband?
you suppose if you're going to
Support me.
if you're going to become in a marriage, you should be, I would think that if you're a sex worker, that you would be trying to associate yourself with men who can get you out of sex work, so where you can never have to go back to that life. If you are, to me, if you're choosing men and you're a sex worker and you're choosing men to marry, that you still have to do this, it doesn't make sense to me, because this is not a thing where, if I assume if you married, you want to have kids, that you want to hold on your legacy. If you're getting married, it should be willing to give up for everything that you're making and more.
So you practically, what you're saying to me, if you're into that and you decided later down the line you want a family, you want to get married,
if you want
just
to
call it quits.
You should be marrying a person or have interest in a person who can highly afford your lifestyle and what you're double what you're making.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but my question is, if you decide on doing that and you meet a man and he wants to marry you, do you just give it up? Is it okay to just give up everything?
Only, yes, if the man is a millionaire, that's what you should be reaching for. If the man is that's funny, but that's not funny when you're meeting so many people. When you're meeting people on an international level. Yes, you should not be marrying anybody.
So what if he's not a millionaire? What if
you should not be married?
You
should not be married.
Let me get Spurs.
Should not be
Spurs looked
married.
like he wanted to say something.
I've been wanting to say something. I mean, I believe it has a lot to do with communication. I feel like the more open you are in a relationship, the better it will be. If, for example, like you said, you met someone that already does OnlyFans, right? And you feel like you want them to continue, it doesn't affect you, that's your business, end of that. But if you don't like it, I don't think you should make it a problem when you met someone doing the hustle and then you came along. Because I don't believe in changing people. I don't believe
what I'm saying.
I don't believe in that at all.
Dating wise, but when it comes to marriage, it's an insult for you to to stand on your knee, sit on your knee, hold a ring in my face, with me knowing that I'll have to continue to exploit my body for the rest of my life. I guess a smart OnlyFans woman would only marry under the circumstances that her husband can provide for her by triple amounts, and she does not have to continue this lifestyle, and he would invest in her to hold whatever business that she would like, or invest in a land, or invest in something, give her an opportunity to change her narrative. That is the only way that she should be marrying as a sex worker. I do not agree, unless the male is a sex worker and you're so much into sex, that you should be marrying somebody and still have to continue sex work. If that's the case, then you married the wrong person.
And it's also a play on perspective, because there are some people in this world, they will work with their partners to create a couple's OnlyFans page where they both reap the benefits from it. And you have some people right now who are in relationships who are open, because nowadays it's a very open era. You're with somebody. We have sneaky links, booty calls, open relationships. We have so much in this era that the fact that somebody having an OnlyFans would just be like, what another bridge, because it's kind of like, oh, this is this era. So when you look at OnlyFans, you also have to look at the contents on which is being posted on the OnlyFans, because there's lingerie, there's foot fetishes, there's this, until you reach up to the level which we call porn star, which is the sex. And most people may not reach to that level.
Porn stars wants to do with contract.
Yes.
Porn stars, you don't have a choice of how long you're going to be shooting content, how many times you're going to be shooting content, who are you going to be shooting content with, what you're going to be doing. Porn stars more, they give you a script, a monologue. You might have to shoot that scene 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. You don't get to choose how much you're getting paid. They choose all that stuff for you.
That, and that's the thing. Research has shown, and there has been some cases going around that even in the porn industries, a lot of the women actresses are not happy. Let's say that a woman is get paid $4,000 for a scene, and then by the time ends up on the hub or anywhere else, the company probably makes about 400,000, 500,000 from it. And there are a lot of people who believe that, or have experienced this, that when they go out into the streets as, porn stars, they feel disgraced because men touching them, they this, they that, because the men are seeing that they're engaging in sexual activities. So my one question to you, you have an OnlyFans. Do you ever feel like when you're walking in society, people just degrading you or just watching you down at you or watching you in a bad way, especially the male gender?
Well, I can't really tell because most people, and I mean no offense when I say this, most people don't like be in the same places I be, like, or in the same like lifestyle be. So to me, I'm not gonna say I look down on them, but I can't relate. I cannot relate. Like a lot of people say, oh, you have so much bravery. I don't even be here like that. I really don't even be here. Like every time I'm traveling, and it's become like a second nature to just ignore people. Like I cannot take offense from people that struggling to pay their bills, that struggling to take care of their family, that cannot afford to, have boss money. I cannot take them seriously when they talk about judging. To me, I just ignore and understand that they're not in a situation that they want to be, so they're mad at everybody else. So I don't really think the only offense I take is the people who make more money than me. That is the only people that can offend me. To me.
Wow, that's the one. They say money
Yeah,
talks,
that's
people.
a good one, eh?
They mean money talks. Because it's kind of true. Because why would you be offended by somebody who's not on your level? Let's be very honest with you. When we move in this world and we make the decisions that we make them because they're for us. Because let's be honest, nobody's doing what we do. Nobody's talking about what we're talking about. And I'm sure people are going to say, why you talk about this? Why you talk about that? But the truth is, what we're doing is we're going to the next level. We're tackling the issues that,
It's
are
just
plaguing
you
our
have to
society.
understand that when you're doing something, you have to be comfortable with it. You have to be confident in yourself. She sounds very confident. She is confident in herself and what she's doing. So at the end of the day, nothing anybody says or does is going to get to her. Right? For me, as a young woman, if you're interested in what she's doing and you feel like you envy her lifestyle or whatever, you want to get into it, find out. Reach out to her. Find out how you could have your own OnlyFans page instead of looking down at the young lady. Because, quite frankly, she's comfortable in what she's doing. She doesn't care. She's happy. She's traveling the world. Why should I be the one to look down on her and say, sweetie, why are you doing what you're doing? Can I pay her bills? No.
Can I even take a passport?
Can I give her
I even say
the lifestyle? Exactly. Can I give her the lifestyle that she loves? No. So why should I look down on her?
You mentioned
She's doing her
something.
stuff.
You mentioned something. You said that what if you meet a guy and he makes you happy and you want to marry him? My advice to young women is feelings are temporary. Just like when you're angry, it's
they are.
temporary. When you're jealous, you're temporary. Happiness, the feeling of happiness is temporary. You should not marry for happiness because what happens when you're not happy anymore? You should marry for content. And I'm not going to say, well, I'm going to mention now, financial stability and contentment. So when that person cheats on you,
Yes.
or when that person, doesn't make you feel the same, at least you're content with them. Marrying for feelings is the worst, one of the worst things that I see that happens, particularly in St.
And
Lucia.
you're right. You're right. You know what I say? And I've been posting it on my status. Why marry a bum? He's going to cheat. When I can marry a rich guy and I could be crying on a yacht in Dubai, right? I will feel comfortable crying.
Contentment, you content.
Yes. On a yacht in Dubai, or going shopping in Dubai, or going to Africa.
Wipe your face with the money.
Them $100 bills coming in this
I
red
walk
tissue.
in and I see you, I'm like, I didn't see anything because I know I have this time, so I have and I could just enjoy it. And what she's saying is true.
Because
That's
there are memes
the
that
society
says,
we live in
fellas,
right now.
if your woman makes $500,000 a year, would you be a house husband?
Answer that question, Joshua.
Hell yeah, I'll have to work. I work in media, my brother. That is a stressful job, but
I would for it.
it's true. Because the concept of feelings, every time we feel, somebody told me they had butterflies for a guy. I told him, my girl, that might be bats. You might want to check yourself out. Because
Bats?
you want butterflies. Because I tell people, and even when we look at the concept of sex is cosmic. It is universal. It is you bring life into this world. So when you tell me about a flame, when you light a match, doesn't it go out very quickly? Why do you want something quick? Right?
Yes.
So for fire to burn bright, it needs some level of sustenance. It needs oxygen. But if the fire is burning the oxygen, how are you breathing? And that is why we suffocate a lot of times in relationships trying to maintain a flame. So when you listen to feelings, I could be angry today and then tomorrow I'm like, yeah, whatever, I don't give a damn, whatever. So then why would I lust and try to go after a woman today who I know I'm just feeling for, but she provides me with no internal structure, internal support? Because the one question people have in this era is, what do you bring to the table?
Can you feed me?
Absolutely
Can you
nothing.
feed my man?
I am the
Can you
table.
feed me?
And you that bring in meals to my table. I am the table.
Right?
What do you mean? What I bring to say? I bring children. That's what? A baby maker. That's what?
Hey, things hot.
So that alone, I sustaining your last name for generations. That alone is enough. And I think that a lot of fellas say, I don't have any children. I don't plan to have any children. But I know why. It's because a lot of people, a lot of men do not really understand the sacrifice that women make to bring in children into life. They see it like as a compromise. That alone is the table. That alone is the table to push a head out of my vagina. To go through, what is it, 8 months, 6 months, 12 months? I don't know how long you'll just be pregnant. 9 months of pain. My rib cage being hit. For the mothers.
Okay,
My rib cage being hit.
Let me answer that. Okay, when you bring a child into this world, you don't bring this child into the world for a man.
A lot of women do.
I have a son.
A lot of women do.
I have a 3-year-old son.
Mhm.
I did not bring him into the world for his dad. I love my son with my every being. I do everything that I can for my son. Joshua could tell you that. Okay? This child is my everything. And if his father is not there today or tomorrow, I will still do everything I have to.
Women
do
will
for
still
him
do everything, but a lot of mothers still
is
have
my
it.
child.
Still have it in
But-
them that they bring in
Yes.
children for man.
Another thing, if you're not ready for a child, you don't have a child. Okay? Because when you bring a child into this world, it's not for your mother, your brother, your cousin, your nene. It's for you. It's your responsibility. Your life changes completely when you have a child. So don't tell me that you're going to get pregnant and you will get pregnant and say it's for the father. No, sweetie. The man's life doesn't change at all.
But I will still
Your
expect,
life will change.
I still will expect a man to understand the pain that women just go through giving birth. They don't really understand it. They think it's the norm. A lot of men do not even want to watch women give birth. They don't even want to be in the room.
That because you deal with men and you deal with little boys. Okay? Men understand. Little boys
I don't find so. I don't find so.
You're probably speaking to the wrong men.
No.
Because I'm telling you,
I'm speaking to all men. They just feel.
I feel like, you know, and we just have to shut up. We just have to shut up in this conversation,
all
but
men in the same
All
room.
men.
I
Thank
know
you.
men
Thank
you are
really-
going to sit down and sit next to this woman until she gives birth.
Do you really believe that man understand the pain that women go through? No, they do not.
Some of them
No, they
do.
don't.
but let's hold on.
I'm telling you, some of them
Hold
They
on,
don't, because a lot of them,
Hold on, miss, but hold on,
a lot of men can say that,
Let me-
and they calling the child mother, they calling the
Hold
child
on,
mother,
hold on.
What
like saying the
about
child mother
women?
asking for too much,
But
my child
Christina,
mother doing too much, she wants some money for nails. We don't
We
understand.
cannot always put down the men. What about the women who have the kids and just drop them for the fathers? Okay? What about the women who have the kids, right? And they leave them for their mothers or the children's grandparents. They're all over the place. They
But I'm
don't have
saying
any time for
the
child.
pain of childbirth.
Deserves that.
The pain of childbirth, men do not understand. That's what I'm saying. The pain of childbirth to bring a child into this world. They
I
do not
understand where she's coming from,
But
because
then again,
we cannot
I
fathom.
don't know
We
what it
cannot
is to have
fathom
childbirth.
the period pain. We
I
cannot
gave birth to
fathom.
my son naturally, and everything I asked God for is exactly what He gave me. 1, 2, 3, and my little jelly beans was out, and I thank God for that because that's what I prayed for during.
And everything that you went through your pregnancy internally, do you think that your child father can take on the
Yes.
same pain?
Yes.
You're crazy.
Uh-huh.
You're crazy.
I'm gonna be very honest with you.
Because you know what, He was there with me.
Do you
A lot of
Chevy bricks,
women
Missy.
don't
Chevy
get
bricks.
that,
Yeah. Chevy bricks.
but
Hold
He was
on.
there with me right through.
What
Hold
you
on,
saying
just
there?
pull up the handle. Let me see there. I have two phrases. Reverend Michael Jackson said, "If you can't feed your baby, then don't have a baby, and don't think maybe if you can't feed your baby." So why you want to be starting something now? Number two, I think that the concept of childbirth is beyond physical understanding. This is emotional, this is spiritual. You're not bringing just another being in this world, you're bringing a soul. And we as men, we can procreate until the day that we die.
Yeah.
That's factual. Women have a certain time limit in which they can do that. I don't think we as men can truly understand. And I understand what you mean. We cannot understand.
Because
Some of them.
I cannot even understand it. I'm a woman that doesn't have kids.
I cannot, but I'm speaking from my perspective because I come from a single
you
mom.
have men that wouldn't care. You
Don't mind men might tell you that. But would you
you might never have
would you not say that majority men cheat?
I wouldn't say that.
Well, majority men do cheat. Majority men do cheat. It's not out of disrespect. It's not of disrespect, but
there are women who cheat.
yes, there are women that cheat. But I'm saying that majority men settle. They know that there's a woman that's out there that maybe look better than you, and they settle.
So you might be married.
That's a fact, brother. Listen to me again. You have a woman.
5 years and she's cheating.
You married to the woman for 40 years, right? You married to the woman for 40 years. Been in a relationship for 45 years. She's been cheating on you for 40 years.
When women cheat, let me say this. When women cheat, it's smart women. Minority of how the man look. It's what the man can do for them. When men cheat, it's of how the woman. Let me finish. How the woman look. A lot of men who cheat. A lot of men cheat. Majority men cheat, and a lot of these men have children.
Like there's 2 men on the table.
I like what
That's not where that's going there because you're creating no spotlight in the category I do exist in.
A lot of men who cheat have children. I know because they're my customers, and I see. I have over 100,000. I have over 100,000 followers, and I'll say that majority of them have a problem, have the same similarity. They need to fill their ego. They need to get validation from other women, no matter what they might say to like women. That's why we never have children. No matter what they might say in front of women who work regular jobs in front of their face, but they crave validation from other women, and they will be willing to do anything. Which you might think that you gave your 9 months for this man just for them to fuck somebody that would never even do half that.
Listen to me. Most of the time, it's just for fun.
Yes, for fun. But your dick is your sacred part, the most sacred part of you. My womb is the most sacred part of me. Do you think I just give that to anybody? They should though. That's the most sacred part of their body.
They don't.
Guys, I think hold up, because you're talking about us, so we need to interject.
Yeah, honestly.
I can't, now let me explain this. I'm about to say this. The men that cheat in this era are very stupid because they easily get caught and they cheat with somebody who can't do shit for them.
And you have a big smirk on your face.
I know because I've been counseling a lot of people on these situations. Right? Number 2. They say that when a woman cheats, it's out of emotional response or need. Because
the woman cheats on you, it's over.
Oh yeah, that's if you find out. but
even if you don't find out.
But let's be very
because
honest
women
with each other in
emotion.
this era about what we now consider dating and relationships. That's really what, because our concept of relationships in this era is not really our concept. It's focused on sex or transactional. We have transactional relationships in this era, but that's for the next topic. Let's go back to our guest here and what she does, because I feel like what we're talking about falls in line with what she does. Because let's be honest with you, majority of subscribers to Onlyfans are men. Some of them have families, some of them have children, some of them have daughters. And
not just me, majority of all sex workers. Because women are people, they act as, and I could say, I know this, they act a certain way up until married. I give it maybe 3 years of marriage, then they start to like, I mean, most older men, their wife not even sleeping in the same room as them.
That's true.
They're not even, that's very common. Very, very common.
True.
Their wife not even putting on lingerie anymore. They're not getting, after maybe like 10 years, not even 10 years in marriage. Like I said, I give it about 3 years. Sometimes two.
Everything would change.
They're not glamoring up themselves anymore. When they walk to bed, they walk in with their scarf and.
But I feel like when we look at the concept of marriage, I think that especially this generation, we just look at the concept of the wedding day. But nobody really thinks beyond that because everybody wants to get dressed, glammed up.
Well, the
and they're
woman
like,
does.
"That's goal.
The woman
goal
does
is
think
just the
beyond that. The
marriage."
man that doesn't think beyond that because the man is very physical. So when they see something, they like something, especially if it's consistent, they want to marry. The woman has in her mind, okay, let me hold myself together till I get that ring. And then once they get the ring, you start to see a behavior shift. Maybe they don't feel like they need to have sex with you every single time. That's what I find majority of times. A lot of men that, revolted sex workers, either they're looking to fill their ego or they're not getting the same attention from their woman at home.
You're right.
For a reason. It's usually for a reason.
And it's not only with the Onlyfans page. You find men who are married, that's why they cheat. That's why they go outside of the household. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's right. But most of the time it's because they're not getting this feeling that they want at home. Maybe what I used to do before we got married or whatever the woman used to do before they got married, she's no longer doing it anymore.
And
she's always tired. She's always this. She's always that. So that's why most of the time men go out there.
Egotistically, I can say for St. Lucia, a lot of men cheat in St. Lucia because, okay, they get off of work, they go to their bar with their co-workers, their co-workers cheat, so they want to make the co-workers know they're a big man and they can get any girl too. They don't really want to cheat, but because their co-workers, they fellas, they bros are around them and that's what they do, they want to show that they can be on that level too.
Joshua, would you say that's true?
It feeds their masculinity.
Brother, let me tell you something. Yeah.
They
You're
Let me.
thinking it.
It feeds their
It's not about the only baking it, but you also have to understand, like, these younger girls, they're like the older guys, eh? They're like the older guys. So you see an older guy, probably driving a Lexus or Toyota Hilux, whatever. You see him, you're going after him. Some of these young girls are pursuing these younger guys, seducing these older guys, seducing this, and if they're not getting it in the household, and these young girls are offering to, I've talked to a lot of young women who did not realize that the man was actually married. But they went out.
I would like to speak on the young girls and the older men, specifically in St. Lucia. Boy, I would like to speak about that. A lot of young girls, I'm talking about girls that are 18 and I'll even say 20 and younger.
21, 22.
These older guys in St. Lucia, I would say and even the white men in St. Lucia,
The friend.
they have their own tricks. They are very aware that you'll think that because they're older, they're going to provide for you. And they have more means to use you and to grade you. And for you to hope and think that maybe they're going to give you a money. The most they might give you is a KFC box and a drive home. The reason that a lot of them are approaching you is because they cannot even make the means to be with women their age. They're loser to women their age. So they go out. And I'm sure you might have experienced it when you was young. I experienced it when I was young.
True.
They prey off of young women. Not all old women, especially majority in St. Lucia, they don't have a money to give you. They just have sex to take from you. They know that you think that they're going to give you money because they're older. That is not the case.
It's true.
Please, young woman, when you go into school and you're coming from school, go home. Those men on the side of the road that catcall you, men with money would never do that. They would never catcall you on the side of the streets or ask an underage girl in your school clothes to come up in a ride with you or take you home or to buy you this and that. I'm not going to say
Now, the reason why they do that is because they know most of these young girls
don't
they
know,
won't ask for anything much. A grown-up woman,
especially a girl not having her father in her life.
Oh, brother,
if
don't
you
want to have a
man
list,
to
boy.
rent
That come
the
like
first
Christmas.
thing to tell
Boy,
you,
because
if you want 10 grand, you might never hear from that man again.
Not even 10 grand.
A school girl who don't ask that. It could be sometimes $500. Or
Not even
One iPhone.
Not even
Alright,
again.
homie.
Not even
A lot of things.
$100, $500. I'm not being your personal business, but when you were younger, how much did it take? Well, I'm not sure if you grew up with your father. I didn't grow up with my father. Did
Well,
you
I
grow
grew
up
up with my mom and my stepfather, so there was a lot I wasn't exposed to.
And
But
getting-
I mean, you see and you hear stuff that's going on around the place. You see the young girls around the place, and you
They
see
prey on women, little girls without fathers.
take advantage on. Sometimes they really and truly cannot afford, and you have to blame some of the parents too. There are parents who sell their kids.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Our parents who sell their kids For
And
simple stuff,
and there's fathers.
bread for the simple necessity. So these things do happen.
There's fathers that's very cheap too.
Yeah.
A lot of fathers are black fathers. They don't find it important to take their daughters on dates. They don't find it important to give their daughters flowers. They don't find it important to give their daughter with presents. So when a fella come on the side of the road in Cash Street and offer them a box of KFC, they're doing everything for that. They're kissing and letting the guy fill up on them for the bare minimum. You should always spoil your daughters even if you don't have it. Find a way to bring a chocolate or something, because that's how a lot of girls fall for perverts and pedophiles from cheap fathers or absent fathers. I will say that I had a cheap father. And this is personal, but I don't mind. You guys see my vagina already. So I will say this. Growing up, my father would tell me that Valentine's Day is only for mother. He never, sometimes he would not give me nothing for my birthday. I thought that I had a good father because when we go inside the grocery store, he would give me a chocolate bar. You know how I lost my virginity? A beef patty and a curry goat and a drive down the street, because I was so impressed. Because my father was not doing none of those things. If I asked for something I want, he would not give me. He would not give me. So it didn't take much I had a overaged man driving around high school. That's what they just do in America, preying on young women. And because by that time my father died already, and my mother sure wasn't, gifting me or making me feel special. And that old fella didn't make me feel special. Until I realized, after I graduate high school, that he's broke and that women his age don't want to deal with him. Please find it a way to bring your daughter, if it's the Chinese restaurant, if it's KFC every week. So those things, when it's introduced to a fella,
they're not impressed.
They're not impressed. Make it very hard for them. Even to take a little trip over to Martinique. That's how that's how guys just get girls now. Oh, I'll take you to Martinique. I'll take you to Guadeloupe. What is Martinique? Martinique is $50 ferry and $50 back. Bring your child to Martinique. Go see jazz festival. Bring your child to jazz festival. Yes. Bring your child to carnival. A lot of young girls fucking for carnival costumes, and that's not okay.
I think that this goes deeper because I feel like we come from a nation that is filled with a lot of single parents, a lot of single mothers. And I tell them, as well and great that a mother is doing her job, she cannot be a father.
It's true.
Yeah.
And especially as a father, when you have a daughter, brother man, and I can tell you have a little sister, and even I'm very cautious. I'm watching this child every second, making sure who she talking to, who she did, what she doing. She might be free, but I teaching her early that, brother, if I get a phone call, I destroying half the nation if it's possible, just to look for your ass, and I want to know where you go, what you do, and who touched you. I think it's important that young women have a man in their life providing stability. And I also tell people that there's a difference between a sperm donor and a father.
Yep.
Your father figure can be an uncle, can be an older cousin, can be an older brother, but somebody needs to make you understand your role in life and who you are going in this world. Because if I have a sister, I want her to understand my father loves my sister to death. I love my sister to death. My uncles do. So the fact that she knows that she has a group of men that love her and that will teach her the values of this world, which fool would decide to come and give her a $7 beef patty and tell her every roll? You must be mad. My brother driving Escalade. Try again, my nigga. We don't have time to have these discussions in this era where, so many people are having children. Kids are having kids. Let's just say this. Kids are having kids. Yep. You are not grown enough to take care of yourself. Why are you deciding to have a child with somebody that you have temporary emotions for? And then now when the struggles come, you want to run to government, you want to run to this agency, you want to run to that agency, as though it is their problem to
change. Say they spread their seed. That's what they love to say. I have to have my seed on the earth. To say that you did what? To say that your father was who? To say that your grandfather was who?
Multiply, you know.
Multiply when you can afford it, because at the end of the day, there's this saying that the older folks say, I do not believe in bringing a child on this earth and the child has to suffer. So that saying is an X out for me. That's a no.
Especially and suffer also when you're not there, because you are not, well, you might, but majority of times you might not outlive your children.
That's true.
You might outlive your children. Majority of the time you're going to die before your children. minority the other case. And you have to think about that is when your children is not there, will they be taken care of? Can they fall back on their family? Majority of times they cannot. So you need to make sure that you're able to not just provide, provide them and be with mate with a person that can make their life as easy as possible. Especially if you're doing what I'm doing, if you're into sex work or planning to get into it.
That's very true, because I feel like a lot of parents tend to think that when the child just reaches 18, they're out of this jurisdiction. I said, no, once you bring a child into this, you are a parent for life. It don't matter whether the child is 30, 40, 50, you have whatever. Once you bring a child into it, that is your responsibility for life. Because let's say your child is well off, by the time they hit 40, something happens to the market, they crash, they lose their house. Whose house are they coming back to? Yours.
Let me ask you a question.
A lot of people know, like in St. Lucia, not even St. Lucia, I'm gonna say black people. They just ask their children for rent, They ask their children to help them after they brought a child. Then they can't maintain their livable condition, and they ask their children for rent. And this sets the child behind. Where on other like races, they putting their child further. As soon as they birth the child, they start in trust fund. They starting,
Jewish do that, huh?
the Jewish, the white people, the Americans, the British, anybody.
I know they do that. So.
But I know black people everywhere, even in America. I don't know about British. I don't know about British black people, but I know in America, they still ask the same thing that, oh, you can't stay if you're not paying bills. Once you're 18, you got to go and get a job. Well, the white people are allowing. And then what happens is that they in that survival mode. And that's when they end up giving themselves to unvaluable men.
Because I feel like now with the rate of racism that we are experiencing in this world and the conflicts in the world, we're telling young people, okay, you go to school, you do this, you do that. They do everything right. They cannot get a job. We're wondering why young men are into drugs and violence, why young people are in this, why young people are doing that, why somebody may start doing Onlyfans or whatever the case is. Everybody's looking for one thing: money.
Not, I wouldn't just say money,
But
money,
survivability.
easy money.
Easy money, survivability, because
Even when you look at the markets now, you see so many young people working hard trying to push the narrative, and they still cannot get past
I would say
where they need to be.
I had three businesses before Empress of Nudity. I had Empress Fitness, I had Empress Cooking, I had Empress Waist Beats. Nothing shoot off like Empress of Nudity. People aren't, I would say men, are not easily to support business unless it has to do with nude and stripping. They will not question it. If you try to sell a fella some shirts, they're going to ask you all type of story. If you try to sell them some food, oh, what you have in. If you try to sell them your body, there's no questions. There's no questions.
So
they immediately support it.
It's easier to sell your body than to sell an item.
It's sad. Yes, it takes for a regular business. It might take 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 years to get your business to go, to make money.
And would you call it quick money?
What I call it quick money depends, because a lot of people enter this industry and they cannot make money.
Why?
Because they're not they're not desirable as they thought that they were, and they have a hard time. I know a lot of girls. I'm in a lot of retail groups. I know a lot of girls who are still working a second job. Why selling pussy? Why doing Onlyfans? Because they're not as desirable as they thought they was. They're not as attractive as desirable. Yes.
Desirable. When you say desirable, what do you mean? I mean, I know the meaning of the
desirable
word,
as a person. They're not as desirable as they was. As a
of
whole
that,
person, as body, as personality, they're not as desirable as they was. I see a lot of people who think, oh, I can just take a picture of my body and people will buy, and it doesn't work, and they end up with embarrassment. I'm in a lot of groups, sex worker groups, and I see a lot of women that are struggling, thousands of women that are struggling because they thought it was just so easy of taking pictures of your body and then having a passive income for the rest of your life. Most people I know that do OnlyFans do not have a passive income. They are working other form of job or depending on some type of income, because it's more than that, and it's big on marketing and diversity really. So, yeah.
I think the concept of desire is really on the male perspective, because
Each man has their own concept of desire, whether you're melanin, whether you're light skin, whether you are this, whether you are that. So
every man has something.
everybody has a fetish. I just said, yeah, everybody has a fetish.
Chinese.
But exactly, but let me ask you this one question, and you've been in this industry for a while. What is one of the weirdest occasions that you've ever had as OnlyFans content creator?
The weirdest experience?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's what I told you in the car. recently, and I'm putting my neighbor on blast, yes. I moved to a place. And I introduced myself to my neighbors because I'm just trying to be nice. I know that some people might recognize me. And he said, "Oh, I'm lying. I really like to see you." And I told him, no, he has to see my number. He asked for my number. And I said, no. So he took it upon himself to go on my OnlyFans and subscribe and talk to me in third person and then, expose that he is my neighbor. That is, I don't even know.
You feel a sick, eh?
I don't even know.
That's crazy. That's a different level of homo.
So you have a stalker neighbor? That's what I was calling.
Well, I would say that a lot of Signutians don't mean harm. They don't know any better. They don't know that. They just almost like they don't think, because I'm an actor and I'm so good at portraying Empress of Nudity. They don't think that I have another personality. They don't realize that it's just acting in a character alone that's there. So they get, they fantasy on and they start to lose their mind, which I believe what just happened there. But I will say something. You need to be careful about invading people's privacy. For that person, you need to be careful about invading that person's privacy. You don't know what type of mental level people that you're reaching out to, how they feel. You don't know the things that they go through. I know a lot of people that would kill themselves because they have a neighbor that's stalking them or masturbating to them, and there's only a wall across from them. They don't think about that. So right now, I think that is probably, I've been sex trafficked before, but that right there, right now, has been the most disturbing experience, because even when I was sex trafficked and I escaped, and I wanted to speak about that. A lot of people know me from the Dexter Dap show. They know me from that show. When I reached back to St. Lucia, this is something very, very personal I'm sharing with you all. I had $0 to my name to escape my sex traffickers. I had to spend every single thing that I had to get back to St. Lucia. I could not even pay. I didn't even know how I was going to pay my rent. Now, before I even go to America, I was very much into, luckily, I had just started to read my Bible and I was very much into prayer. God instructed me to take my Bible with me everywhere I was in America. And I followed instructions. So I never asked, when I wake up in the morning, I never ask God for anything, because I have everything I want. All I do is think of everything I have, like my ears that I hear, my eyes that I can see. This was the only time I ever come to God and ask for something. I didn't even have food in my refrigerator. Begging on the streets for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I couldn't even afford the ticket for Dexter Dap show. I don't want to get emotional. I couldn't even afford the ticket for the Dexter Dap show. I had to ask a partner from a long time ago to pay for the ticket for me. When I tell you, I did a prayer before I got in there. When I tell you, I had no expectations of getting on that stage. I even said it in my life. I'm not getting on the stage. I don't want to get on the stage. And I know, Christians might think otherwise, but I have my own personal relationship with the spirits. And after that Dexter Dap show, I really didn't know what was happening when I got on the show. I didn't even realize I flashed my breasts. I know that's hard to believe, but I never even realized I flashed my breasts. After that day, I made $1,000 every single day. I even get a person from abroad that wanted to stay for me and pay my rent, and he tripled my groceries.
USD.
US dollars every single day. I made $10,000 just in that first week of the Dexter Dap show. I didn't have nothing but $200 after I escaped my sex traffickers. Before I say a year ago that happened, I wasn't even believing in God. Every time I just have a little bit of doubt, if there's a God that exists, I know that. I never received so much blessings at once when I needed it. A lot of people don't know that. They just think I came on that stage and I did magic. I know y'all might disagree, but I do believe that the spirit that made me do what I did, because I had no idea that people was even recording me. That's how far my mind was going. I didn't even have money for the show. I just had so much stress in my life. I just wanted a calm night where I can just have fun. $300 I had to my name.
Say to me that night opened doors for you.
Opened doors for me. Opened doors. I had been doing OnlyFans for 3 years. I never had a video that go viral until that video where I wasn't even trying to.
Doors for her.
not even open doors for me. He blessed me at the moment because it'd been open doors for me. He blessed me and put me through a trial of faith. I just went on my knees maybe 2 days before. And I just did a kind of prayer like I never did before.
I'm not going to argue that with you. I'm going to totally agree with you. But let me tell you, and Harry, you know exactly what I'm saying. Even if a Christian would have,
Yeah, that's why I said a lot of Christians would disagree.
the first thing they're going to say, you mean to tell me God instructed you
You to show your breasts?
on the stage and he opened doors for you? But I mean, you know your relationship with God. Nobody's in any position to judge you. You know the relationship that you have with him. Each of us have a different relationship with him. And if you strongly believe he's the one who opened the doors for you, I'm in no position to tell you what you're saying that it's not true or it's magic. What I can tell you is continue to give him thanks for the doors that he has opened for you. Because he judges nobody.
That's true.
I think like, okay, my understanding of God is a bit different from other people's understanding. I don't understand, like, I don't really believe exactly 100% of what Christians believe, but I do know. I started like with my Bible. I said, believe it or not, I'm a pastor's child. Both of my parents are pastors, but I never was. Why you look up like that?
Because there's rumors about what I'm pastor's children and body does go astray. This is a confirmation of that. I have it now. I hear that my uncle is a pastor, so I have to start watching my baby cousin Ariel. Because
it's because my parents did not lead me into a life of like to make me believe. So I never believed. I was even like into witchcraft, like real witchcraft, because I wanted to go so much against of these Christians that I grew up with that were not so, I guess, quote unquote Christian, or maybe they were. So years later, when I say years, I mean almost 20 years later, I said, I'm so happy in life right now. And that's why people on the street cannot bother me. I'm so happy. I cannot imagine of having to wake up at an office and thinking, if I didn't thank God every single day, would I still have what I have? I don't want to fuck around and find out. Excuse my language. So I said, I'll start out with reading the Psalms. If I don't see any difference, I will change. If I do, I will continue. From the first day, I started, just reading a verse that I was familiar with. I say from the first week, I wouldn't leave the house without saying my Psalms. So 1 week, I actually left the house and somebody told me, turn around and read your Psalms. I walked to the beach like I always just do. I talked into a fella asking to hang up my hammock. And some fellas all the way on the other side of the beach call me. And so I go. That fella that asked to hang up my hammock, he's hold a gun to a girl and rob them. And I was thinking, imagine, I asking the fella to hang up my hammock and he hang it for me. I didn't know how those fellas saw it. When I say I was far from the beach, I don't know how those fellas came and saw me. But from then, I continue and I still continue because every time I seen something. But I would say, before, when it's being forced on you, when faith is being forced on you, you cannot see. But yes, I'm not 99 or 80% sure that Dexter Dobbs was a coincidence. It was not a coincidence. When I say I was dirt broke, I did a prayer that I never asked God for nothing because I have everything I want and I was stable on income. I never asked God for nothing. That was my first time. And I remember I say that. I don't want to get to one thing I have confidence. I don't ever want to get to a point where when I facing my death, a lot of people would just try to get their way right with God. I want to be right with God before my death. I want to, pray. I don't want to, if somebody shoot me today, I don't want to have no type of remorse that I don't believe in heaven. That's why I said my faith is a little bit different, but I do believe in the afterlife. I don't want to have no feelings that I didn't appreciate my life or I wasn't happy with the way I'm living. I love my life and I love how I'm experiencing it. I just see a lot of people, they don't have their time to themselves. Their time is on somebody else's time. I remember a time there was money that was always on my mind. My mind is not ruled by money anymore. I don't think about if I'm going to be homeless again. A lot of people don't know that. I used to sleep in a car. I was dirt broke. I used to be a janitor. I've had, I wouldn't say thousands of jobs. I had a lot of jobs from the age of 13. And this is the job that I'm the most happiest and I'm able to have peace with. I've not had peace with any other job I worked. I worked front desk administration. I worked security. I worked travel security. I worked as a makeup artist. I worked as a retail owner. I worked as a janitor. I've done a lot of jobs. And this where I have time to even appreciate my existence. I didn't even realize I exist when I was working those jobs. I didn't even realize, because my day is wake up, go to work, struggle for sleep. That's all I know.
Wow.
So when you ask, when people, look down on me, I know that's all they know. So why would I care what they think? They don't have the time to themselves. All their mind is worry, worry, worry. The only worry I have on my mind is about me maybe losing my parents or becoming maybe sick, which I don't think that God would allow, because I just speak against those things every single day.
That story, that's amazing. That sheds light into different perspectives as to people in this world, how they think, how they operate and move. But I want to go to Spud before we close this episode. Talk to me. Yeah, Spud, what do you think about this? Because they bashed us majority of this episode. They bashed us.
Yeah.
So what comments do you have to say? Because I know you've been holding back, bro. I know you've been.
Let me just say, I don't appreciate, guys. I love the comments, but I don't appreciate your generalizing men. I get what you're saying, but there are a lot of men, as much as women, that are broken. There are a lot of men that were touched by father figures, by their uncles, by anybody that has a dick or a vagina. So I don't know. Okay. In terms of the whole OnlyFans thing, I feel as if like people generally in St. Lucia are very close-minded to a lot of things that they shouldn't be. And we live in this society where everything is boxed up to the point where people are afraid to put holes in the box or even tear the box open.
Mm-hmm.
It's very sad, actually, to the point where young women have to feel so, afraid to walk in the streets because fellas catcalling them and, like you'll say, KFC and all kind of different things. It's just crazy. I don't know. To me, I feel as if young men and women should have, I wouldn't say should, but okay, should. They deserve a good figure to look up to. I don't really think it's so much of a situation where men do this because that's how men are. It's a situation where men need the mental training and, the, what's the word I'm looking for? They need the right brought up, I guess. Yeah, if you understand what I'm saying. Also, yes.
So Macrina, any words from you before we close this episode?
For me, with this concerning the OnlyFans page, at the end of the day, it's your choice. This body is yours. If you feel comfortable, if it's what makes you happy, if it's what you want to put money in your pockets and that's what you want to do, then fine. But don't just think of right now, think of the future. Because at the end of the day, whatever you put on social media, on the internet, is not going to go anywhere. It's going to be with you for life. And if that's what you want to do, you need to understand that. The minute you decide that you no longer want to do it anymore, you want to start a family, it is not going to go anywhere. It could be 15 years down the line, 20 years down the line, your kids are going to see it. So how are you going to explain that to them? These are things that you need to think about when you decide on starting an orphanage. But if a young woman says that's what she wants to do, that's a career path that she wants to take, I'm not going to tell you don't do it. And I don't think anybody should discourage them from doing it, because at the end of the day, that is what they want to do, right? That's the path that they want to take. All right? That's my take on this.
And our wonderful guest, the Empress of Self. Do you have any final words for the audience?
I will just elaborate on what she was saying. I would find it very important to understand the consequences of OnlyFans. Yes, money does come with it, and you might just feel like nobody can get to you. But understand the permanent consequences that you might have if it doesn't go successful. Understand where you want your life to be way after, and have goals and respect levels set to yourself. Don't do things that you wouldn't normally do just for money. That's what I would say.
All right, guys. And for me, I would just tell you, in this era that we're in, keep an open mind. We talked about religions in this episode, so make sure that you tune in for our Easter episode, which is the first Friday in April. We're going to be talking about religion with some very prominent figures. And make sure you stay tuned for the next episode, which is sex. Is it overrated? Y'all think sex overrated?
Yes.
That says a lot.
So you understand, it's overrated. But from me and the team at Harrow Studios, the team at 758, we want to thank you for joining us. We want to thank our production team here, Mr. Kud and Mr. Tony, for being here with us to help us with the videography. I want to also say, make sure you follow us on Instagram at Harrow Studios, Twitter at Harrow Studios, and if you want to sponsor or be a part of an episode, make sure you message us at harrowstudios758@gmail.com. Make sure you tune in on Facebook and on YouTube at Harrow Studios for the launching of this episode and the upcoming episodes after that. So I think from me and the entire fabulous team here, may say keep vibing, keep staying tuned. We are the vibe. Stick with us. We go see you later.